Um, hey everyone, I'm Sankarshan Murthy, co-founder and CEO of Bumblebee Spaces. Um, we build, we're the space company. We put furniture, fixtures, storage, all in the ceiling, and it only comes down when you need it, goes away when you don't, creating this incredibly efficient and extraordinary experience inside a home. So I'm gonna walk you through why we're doing this, what is our mission, how do we approach this problem, and then love to take some Q&A from the audience here. I'm gonna do a screen share so I can just run through a quick presentation. All right. So I'm guessing you guys are able to see my screen. Sorry, hold on a second. All right, I'll jump in right here. So yeah, the big driver for Bumblebee, we're trying to solve two of the generational problem of today. Basically, it's housing and energy, and the space is kind of a universal need. Uh, all you guys are kind of interested in the real estate, digital transformation, what is going on in that space. So I'm going to talk about kind of the combination of physical to digital, like what is going on in the real estate space, and how, like, in the future, real estate won't be valued just like square footage. That's not the norm, especially because we're going to be adding a ton of housing to the planet. So we add about one New York City a month on the planet. So the amount of housing we add over the next 40 years will essentially double the number of houses on the planet. It is a massive problem. This is the major contributor for all the the climate change, the carbon emissions into the atmosphere, as well as embodied carbon into the construction process. So this is the problem to solve, and we solve it in a very first principles manner. So the way we approach it is we look at how a home is used, how a space is used, and if you observe the space, it's never used. All the functions are never used all the time, right? So when you're when you're not sleeping, the bedroom is like occupying all the footprint, heating, cooling, taxes, mortgage, all this stuff, insurance, and we're wasting a lot of resources for the space we're not for the function that we're not using at that moment. When you're done working, you don't want to be looking at your work. You want everything gone. When you're done changing, your closet doesn't need to be sitting on the floor occupying footprint. So we think about how can we unlock space uh, uh, without expanding the footprint. So you don't need square footage to add space. You just need to use the space a lot better. So the way Bumblebee approaches each unit, so you can think of like each building block of the home uh, is that much more valuable. So a studio becomes as valuable as one bedroom. A one bedroom becomes as valuable as two bedrooms. Two becomes four, six. Like, so its ability to add rooms without adding footprint. That's kind of like our basic building block of Bumblebee. So if you just compare side by side on um, how much we save from just changing, like adding the functionality into through Bumblebee instead of through traditional construction, you can see it's about 6.5 metric tons of carbon removed from every unit that we install. And people actually value it as space and not as just furniture. So the space actually becomes a lot more functional, and it's also like taking lot less operating energy. For one is like just reduce heating, cooling, and rest of the load. And second, we also have like a battery integrated system that's able to offset peak demand on on multifamily or like any type of units. The magic of Bumblebee at scale, as if you're a home builder or developer, you can start seeing like you can pack more units, but it's higher quality of living. Every one of these units, it's more exciting to live in this than regular homes. Actually, I'd love to show you like a quick video of how the system functions. Our system is best seen in live, in person, because it's such a visually stunning experience, as well as just being in the space. Like ceiling, for most intents and purposes, is invisible, but we unlock it uh, in a very sophisticated, like very smooth manner. So you can see this storage system. All your stuff is kind of put away. It's never visible. And the modules itself are actually not where the intelligence is. All the intelligence is embedded in the ceiling, where the sensors, uh, kind of like high precision robotics that are kind of in the ceiling. This is a studio that becomes uh, functionality of one bedroom. We have one bedrooms that become two. The two becomes four. Like so, it kind of ratchets on the functionality of the space, and really opens up the how valuable the space is. The utility of the space becomes radically more. Here you can see a bed coming down, transforming the space from a living office to a bedroom. Um, and this is just to show you kind of where, uh, like how our systems are live in the real world, right? Like if we can go into any type of home, and just like, because of the nature of this modularity, we can like fit it into any kind of home. The whole system's kind of running on low voltage. Like I was saying, it's battery integrated system. It's got some really innovative technologies that are kind of embedded right into the system. Um, on the way down, we actually generate power. Due to gravity, like anytime we're bringing it down, we're not motoring. We're mostly coasting or braking, and braking is kind of like Tesla braking, right? It ends up, the motor becomes a generator and dumps the energy back into the system. So we capture it using a battery pack that's embedded, integrated into our system. There's also sensors kind of embedded in the home, so it understands depth and vision of the system. Privacy first, we understand what is being stored, how it's being used, what is, so even though it's out of sight, it's never out of mind because the computer is kind of tracking it. The second is there's sensors in the unit where, under, like if you get under it, if you get over it, like we're able to understand when to move and not to move very, very reliably. And the magic of Bumblebee comes alive from this. There's the physical aspect of like the hardware, and then the software is where the true manifestation of the user experience comes alive. So you can see what is being stored. We take using cameras that are embedded in the ceiling, we take a live shot of what is being stored, and using AI, we're able to caption each one of your objects that are stored in layers. So, over time, what is being stored, what is being removed, what is being used. And that creates this incredibly poetic uh, user interface where you can just talk to your system. So this is kind of like the realization of ambient computer, right? Like the home just responds to your needs. And we are actually using ChatGPT uh, uh, to create these conversational voice unlock with Bumblebee, right? So you can just say, "Hey, where's my watch? Where's my eraser? Where's this specific paintbrush that I was storing? Like I put it in last Wednesday." You can use your kind of like you can have a conversational UI that is like kind of understanding exactly what you need when you need it, creating this Iron Man's home into every one of our units. We have lots of people living in it. It's like growing every day, and super excited to kind of like host like incredibly interesting people living in Bumblebee, right? Like, and that this is like growing every day. So this is kind of like exciting for us. Our the integration process is also super exciting. So you can see it fits into any home. The beauty of Bumblebee is we've designed it to be extremely modular, and we distribute the load. So our systems are built very efficiently. So if we're shipping you a bed or a desk, or we only ship that module, like, or we only the materials related to that module, right? So you don't have to buy a bed, you have to buy a couch and a counterweight, and like you have to like lock up a wall. It's actually really, it frees up all your wall. You can like structure your home, structure your furnishing as needed. You can pick your favorite art and couch and whatever you want, and still add the space you need. And we have this AR app. You just scan your home, we capture full 3D of it, and we show you what's possible with Bumblebee. We're in some incredible architectures all around America, and now Canada, and we're expanding to Europe, Asia, like everywhere. It's growing. Our user base constantly grows day by day. With all kinds of use cases, from the primary office that becomes a guest room, to primary bedroom that becomes a home office, closet, game room, workout room, entertainment area that becomes a guest room. So you can have uh, any kind of use cases. I mean, why wouldn't you use your ceiling? Ceiling's kind of like this unused end cap, like a dead space that in today's world, it's not really captured that effectively. So we unlock this and create an incredible software that lives with your system. Our installs are really rapid. It's like an appliance install. We put these anchors and rails, slide the robots in, hang the furniture, and the software kind of takes over at that point. And we constantly are building, training third-party installers who will be installing Bumblebee, the certified installers. Yeah, we lead this shift from thinking about home in two dimension. Like, think about whenever we like introduce a home as a realtor, as a developer, as anybody in the real estate world. Today you introduce as how many bedrooms and how many square foot. Like, it's a 2-bedroom 700 square foot home, like 500 square foot studio, whatever. So that metric will become obsolete. The function of the home uh, can be unlocked volumetrically, right? Like, in thinking about it, it's a mind shift. I think this is a paradigm shift in how real estate will be valued in the future. But it's also, once you experience Bumblebee, once you go into a Bumblebee unit, you will not use the word square foot again, and you won't see the ceiling the same. Like, we use full volume and kind of unlock this incredible user experience. That's Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. They are one of our favorite residents living in Bumblebee. Um, Yeah, happy to take any questions and uh, uh, jump into sharing more about it.
What a such an interesting concept. I love it. I'm a big fan of being efficient with your space, so this is really unique. I'm about to have a conversation with my wife about this because I'm always trying to do more with less. So this is really cool.
Thank you.
What so what inspired the idea? If you don't mind, while we wait for some questions to come in, I'm curious to know like what inspired the idea. Was it a situation, an experience, or just market
Right.
research?
Yeah, not market research. So we all. So the team of Bumblebee came from product uh, product design, engineering, hardware, software. Like this is like we worked on extremely complex products, like Apple Watch and Tesla Model 3 and Model Y, and so we worked on these like really complex projects in our history. And it's funny, like as a product designer, when you sit in any kind of engineering meetings, all engineers are fighting for space. Like they're fighting for, the OLED guys need another micrometer, or the button guys need another 1.5 millimeters. Like everyone's fighting for micrometers of space, and we're trying to pack all these delights and surprises inside the product. And if you like, after doing that, you come home and see like how much space is wasted. We don't fight for space. Like there's no engineers fighting for space, and the home is just built with sticks and drywall and concrete. It's the same technology that's existed for generations, right? So, I mean, in a way, I was solving this problem for myself. I wanted to, just going through being in Bay Area, like just going through this process of, we need more space in the home. We ended up like kind of debating whether we need to add more rooms, or do we just like make more space. While more questions come in, I'm just going to quickly mute here.
Absolutely. So I don't think there's a question that's come in yet. Um,
Sorry about that.
oh,
Yeah, like we're trying to solve this problem for myself, and before you can move rooms, we have to move our shoes and clothes and stuff out of the way. Like stuff is a big problem inside the home. So we started off kind of like this powered attic. Like if you can just like have the system in the attic and like power it on when you need it, it goes away when you don't need it. And if you could have a vision system that's kind of like augmenting what you've stored in there, that'll change the way you actually use the space. It's not cold storage anymore. It's actually hot and useful.
that makes sense. Yeah, I was recently a few months ago. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was like an Airbnb or what, but the house was very like smart that we stayed at, and it had like in the bedroom like the TV that came out of like a dresser and whatnot. So I just thought it was like really efficient. I was really caught off guard because most of the time people just have we moved from a 900 square foot apartment to a home, and you don't realize like how much space you have, right?
Right.
Going from a
Yeah.
small little apartment, to even any size home, right? I mean, like it's a quite the shift. So we were trying to figure out what to do with that empty space, right? Because we're like, we don't want it to feel empty. Now
Right.
that we have a little bit more space, so we had to we had to go buy out more, But in your case, you're finding ways for people to do more stuff with less space. It seems like.
Yeah, and it's surprising. Like we've installed in all kinds of footprint. Um, Sometimes you need more functions, even when you have a like pretty big house, like the utilities, like the the type of functions you need are like sometimes it's like rare, right? Like you like for example, you have like guests visiting. That's like few weeks in a year that might be like you need a really good guest room, but rest of the time you don't want to be like paying for all that footprint and embodied carbon and heating and cooling it. So, but if you can get an incredible guest room only when you need it, disappear when you don't, or you can have, like you may be a wine connoisseur, like you just want like a really nice wine rack, and you don't want to just like take away like space in your kitchen for that. You can have like Bumblebee wine rack. You can have. Um,
Very interesting.
it's interesting. Any manifestation of floor furniture today or anything that occupies footprint today will eventually have a Bumblebee version of it kind of living in there, right? So when you're having dining, like hosting people for uh, dining, or you need a nice dining table, you have it. When you don't need it, it's really put away, and just like that space becomes something else, like could be a workout area, a game room,
Hybrid
whatever.
space. It becomes hybrid at that point. It's really unique.
Exactly.
Especially like I mean, for in your example, I just became a dad, so about a year ago, so I have a toddler
Right.
just crawling around everywhere, right? It would be really convenient if I can just like easily move the table out of the way in the kitchen, So
Right. Yeah.
one thing I'm curious about, and I'm not really sure how long y'all been around, and there still hasn't been any questions, so this one will be the last question I have for you. But what's the coolest project that y'all worked on, or at least for you, and maybe for the company, because they could be two different things.
Sure, yeah. I think for the company, we went live in New York. Like we've some really incredible projects there. Which in Long Island City, we're doing this project called Nova, which looks like this flat iron building. A lot of bumblebees. We're excited about a few full stack bumblebee buildings coming live this year. The whole building will be bumblebee. Every like it's
Wow,
built into the fabric of, yeah, like that's the best. Like why wouldn't you use the efficiency, like when you're building hundreds of units in a high rise and like
for the
any kind of
foundation.
multi-family setting, you can unlock incredible space. So we're having Griffin, and the one in and then we're doing one with Kushner's in Miami. Like some of these, like it built into the design of the fabric of the design. That's really exciting for us. The other yeah, like some of my personal ones, there's some like brick and timber style constructions that are like really, it's incredible, like like architecture, really beautiful, kind of it's historical buildings, but we were able to add Bumblebee to that and incredibly like unlock it's this juxtaposition of this old beautiful building coming together with this technology that has AI in it. So it felt a little bit like Ex Machina cabin.
That's really interesting. So you made a comment, right before this about that y'all going to be building from the ground up, like in with another building, right? It's like Bumblebee will be in. So is this something that you envision in the future, where like if someone's building a custom home, like Bumblebee would be just part of the process?
Exactly. I mean, it's not future anymore. It's present for us. Like we're doing this now, right? Yeah. It's we are in the process of like Windward in Miami is gonna go live this like next month. It'll be
Wow,
people
I
can
love
just
that
rent
area.
it. Yeah, there's like buildings like that coming up, which has got Bumblebee integrated into the design.
Very cool. Well, let me know when you come to Dallas, because I definitely want to jump on that. So,
Definitely, we're actually in Austin already.
were you? That's
Yeah,
Yeah. I was trying to think. Probably the three first cities, maybe four, would be like San Francisco, New York, Austin, Miami.
yeah, yeah. Like we're in all of those.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean that's where, except for maybe I guess, except for Miami, but all three other ones they definitely have like a lack of space. So this definitely seems like the perfect product. Especially, I have a lot of friends in Austin, given that I'm in Dallas, that they they wish they had more space, or at least some place to put more things in versus cramming it in their room because they have no
Right.
space.
Yeah, I mean, like if you think about where your like if you like do a Pareto of like where your monthly spend goes, the biggest one is you're paying for square footage. That's
Yep.
And if you approach it in first principles, that's the why would you pay for it? Like, you're not using all the space all the time. We can unlock it to create functions that's actually valuable. And we're also looking beyond just residential, right? Like, every space like eventually becomes multifunctional.
Very cool. Well, I don't think there's any questions that came in, so hopefully I asked enough. Where can people connect with you? Are you Twitter? I don't think I asked you this at the beginning.
Yeah,
Twitter.
I'm active on Twitter at Sankarshan. Like, it's spelled a little differently in my Twitter, but you should be able to find me, Sankarshan Murthy. I'm also active on all other channels, Instagram and
Awesome.
LinkedIn and
Great.
all that.
Well, before we let you go, what kind of parting advice do you have for our audience? Or maybe a prediction that you have for 2023 in your space.
Yeah, it's interesting. 2023 is turning out to be an interesting year because of the raising interest rate in real estate in world, right? So if you look at kind of one, there's like kind of people delaying buying because
Right.
mortgage rates become so high.
Mm.
And
Right.
it's also interesting opportunity because a lot of people are like, okay, well, I'll buy it at this interest rate, and knowing that there's it's kind of a buyer advantage market, and you can always refinance it, or depending on however you want to approach in the future.
Mhm.
Though the interesting thing we've seen it is people are actually making decision about how much of a home to buy based on the mortgage rate,
Okay.
right? So adding, like, going from a 2 bedroom to 3 bedroom can double your mortgage, like, depending on like the location and interest rate that you qualify for and all that. Adding another room doubles your mortgage, versus this is where we see like this in like the precipitation of people, the market actually pulling efficiency out of the units. They are like, why would you go to 3 bedroom if you're just going to use the third room for guests
Storage.
occasionally, right? Like, so if you can create 4 rooms out of 2 bedroom footprint, that's a much better way for people to live. But it's also like there's a lot of expectation from the home because of, I think, this plasticity that happened, like this the permanent change in how people work from home. I mean, even if they're not like fully working from home, at least 2-3 days in a week they're spending enough time at home doing like working on their workstations, and just spending more time on their personal projects. So that the COVID related kind of plasticity, we're seeing that people expect more out of the home. They want like a home office, they want a space where like library, they want a game room for kids, they want, as a new dad, I'm sure you see like there's an explosion of stuff. The room becomes a nursery. Like, it's just like things, the expectation from home is ratcheting up, and the pressure for space is that is increasing. I think this is where kind of like this precipitation of innovation is coming alive, of making more efficiency, more make space for what matters.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting point. I laugh because we have, like, at our house, we have 2 floors, and like underneath the stairs is like this really cool, like, I don't know, it's like it's almost like a downstairs attic per se, right? And it goes underneath the stairs, and it's just like a room, and we were just using it for storage. And like I remember, like, before we cleaned it up and whatnot, I'm like, man, this would be a really cool game room for our daughter. And long and behold, after much anticipation of us trying to not clean it out, we finally did, and now it's like she loves that game room, right? So it's just like it's crazy how we were able to turn that storage space into a game room. Which then allows me, it's a very hybrid space. So like it's just a bunch of other toys and stuff like that. But even though that, that room like was just sitting there stagnant, right? We kept shoving stuff in there, right? We actually got rid of like 80% of the stuff because we realized we didn't need it. It was just there. We were just holding it on for, because we're all some sort of like micro hoarders, to an extent. I thought that was really interesting. And then like, in my office, I'm at home, I work from home, but that was one of my kickers. Like we were going to turn one of our, bedrooms into an office. It's like a full blown office. So like, I mean, you can see a little bit of my office, so I have, like I have to, because I couldn't, like in my apartment, I was 900 square feet. It was like, I felt like I could be in one room, put my foot in another room, and then like, reach out into the second room, right? It was all really compacted. So that was one thing.
I'm actually in my daughter's room taking this call, right? This is all Bumblebee. Like we have like bed. This is my desk is actually a Bumblebee desk. Wow. There's still all her stuff. Like, and it just like when she comes in the afternoon after school, this space is like puppies are playing here.
That's crazy. That's so cool. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to connecting, but, I definitely, feel like I can understand, the vision, and I think it's a really unique idea. I think it will make people realize how much, excuse my language, but stuff, shit they don't really need, right? And if anything, you can hide, you can hide a lot of stuff with y'all's process and kind of offering than the traditional way of doing it, where it's just shoving anything anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me. And
absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. It was a great conversation. I look forward to connecting with you offline. I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.